What are prediction markets, you may wonder? Consider an ordinary market where people trade money for some standard item like this metal bar. Prices in such markets tend to fluctuate up and down. And when trading and storing items is cheap, this attracts speculators who try to guess, will the price rise or fall? Because if they can guess this, they can turn these markets into money pumps. That is, if they can buy low and then sell high, or sell high and then buy low, either way they walk away with cash. Hoping for this outcome, speculators search long and hard to find information to help them guess future prices. Do prices tend to fall when it rains? Do they rise on Tuesdays? If speculators think that prices tend to rise on Tuesdays, they will buy on Mondays and sell on Wednesdays. But doing this makes prices rise less on Tuesdays, so it turns off the money pump. In general, speculators who bet on information not currently reflected in market prices tend to push that information into the prices. Thus, in active markets, prices tend to embody a lot of information about future prices. So much so, in fact, that it is usually quite hard to consistently make money by betting in these markets. This is a mild version of the so-called efficient markets hypothesis. All of this works not just for markets in natural objects like metal bars, but also for markets in artificial objects. Like this piece of paper, which says pays $1 if Biden wins the 2024 US presidential election. The future price here is set by the outcome of the election. So if you can get enough people to trade here, then the current market price should become an accurate estimate of that future price, that is, of the chance that Biden will win the election. Now, while we've had speculative markets for many centuries, they have mostly been created for other reasons, and have only aggregated information as a side effect. However, in the last few decades, people have started to make prediction markets, which are speculative markets created to harness this information effect on topics of interest. So far, we've seen at least a dozen head-to-head comparisons wherein both speculative markets and some other familiar institution, like polls or committees, estimated the same thing at the same time and using comparable resources. The usual result? Speculative markets are either substantially more accurate or about as accurate as other methods. They're almost never much worse. For example, out of 1,000 comparisons between national election polls and markets, the markets were closer to the truth about 3/4 of the time. Even though market participants were not at all representative of the electorate, and markets moved a lot less than polls did in response to the debates. This strong track record has inspired many organizations to try to create internal markets to answer questions of interest to them, such as whether they will make project deadlines or which new projects they should start. Prediction markets have many advantages over other ways to get people to aggregate information into consensus estimates, such as polls or committees. Markets give numerically precise estimates instead of vague weasel words. When there are markets on many questions, their estimates will tend to be consistent across all those questions. Price estimates are frequently updated, at least if trading is frequent. Compared to other ways to create consensus estimates, prices tend to be harder for interested parties to manipulate. Markets are also robust, in contrast to other mechanisms, which can be very sensitive to the quality of the participants. For example, a committee made mostly of bozos may go quite badly, but allowing many bozos to trade in speculative markets isn't a problem, as long as a few well-informed people can also trade. Some have framed the issue here as prediction markets revealing a wisdom of crowds, with crowds supposedly better than experts. But that's not right. The idea here instead is to entice participation by whomever really knows things on each particular topic. Sometimes that will be the highly credentialed, and other times that will be more ordinary-looking folks. The main argument in favor of speculative markets is empirical. When tested, they work. But theory also supports them, as we do roughly understand why they work. In contrast to other mechanisms, speculative markets offer simple, direct incentives for accuracy. Not just incentives to choose your trades well, but even more important, incentives to not trade at all if you don't honestly think you are better informed than the others who might trade. Furthermore, traders have incentives to find and fix any biases they can find in market prices. Markets do not need individual traders to be especially rational. Prediction markets are a simple, powerful way to let a large, diverse community collect their information and merge it into precise estimates, which everyone can then use to make their decisions.
If you want to learn more about public choice, check out some of our other videos